Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. Well, a really busy weekend in sports again, and we've got some Monday Night Football. Unexpectedly, there's two games on the Monday Night Football schedule because of a positive COVID test for Cam Newton, so they had to change the day for the NFL, and Patriots don't look too great tonight. They're facing the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs, and they held them in check at the first half, but the Chiefs are blowing them away now, 26-10, late in the fourth quarter. Joining me to discuss the NFL, some basketball, some UFC tonight, to Jason Cameron. How are you, Jason? How are you?
I am doing great. I am doing well.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining me. This is going to be fun to break down. The NFL, you and I have talked for a really long time about their decision to not go into the bubble. They thought they had too many players, too much staff, too hard to be able to pull it off. They wanted to have fans in the stands and that type of thing. And we worried that COVID would strike. First 3 weeks, they got away unscathed. But this week, obviously, Tennessee was the big story with 20 people from the organization, 10 players, 10 staff members testing positive. They were supposed to face the Steelers, and that game had to be scrapped. It's going to be played in week 8, I believe it is. And then this Cam Newton positive test. I guess the NFL came out today with some more stringent policy maneuvers, and this was our worry. What did you think when you started hearing about these positive tests?
Well, I thought, you know what, it was bound to happen because they didn't bubble. They didn't want to bubble. And when you don't want to bubble and you're going to all of these arenas and you're flying and you're doing all this stuff, too many variables to account for, somebody's going to catch it. And that's just the way it's going to be. They're just going to have to continually adjust as things come up. But yeah, this is just the beginning. There's going to be more of this. And as we get closer to flu season, this might compound and get far, far worse, but we shall see.
Yeah, I guess we shall see. I think it's unfortunate that they didn't go into the bubble. It was really bad move on their part. We saw the NBA and the NHL and MLS go into the bubble, really go off without a hitch, especially the NBA and the NHL. Were able to, go through the whole entire playoffs and have no positive tests and really great games and really reinvigorate the sport. NFL decided not to do it. Baseball as well, and baseball had a lot of troubles in the early stages. Have been able to recover ever since those early cases. But so what the NFL has brought out today, it says that the new COVID protocols on teams that fail to comply to the new rules will face fines, loss of draft picks, and even can forfeit games. I was talking to a friend over the weekend, and he thinks that these teams should forfeit games if they get positive tests. Why does it fall on the other team responsibility to try to, make up a game, play, 3 games in 11 nights is what the Chiefs have to do now. The Steelers don't get a bye week now. They have to play 13 weeks in a row. What do you think about that? Forfeiting games, that's pretty extreme, but it might have to be done.
It might have to be done because, if you're the opponent and then you have to try to make up due to the other team's positive COVID cases, it's just not fair. It's not fair. It's it just is not fair. So if that said team wants to forfeit the game, I think they should have the power to do that. You know what I mean? Because how about this? The game is hard enough as is. And then once you start taking away your bye weeks and stuff, and then you all of a sudden have to play 3 games in 11 days or whatever, that's asking a lot from these guys that haven't even had a preseason. You know what I mean? So it's it's tough. It's a tough position to be put in, and I'm glad that the NFL's affording, the other teams to say, you know what, forfeit the game. We're gonna move on.
There have been fines levied today. The Raiders got fined $30,000 from Darren Holler. Several of his teammates were fined $15K. They were attending a fundraiser a couple days ago, and a lot of them were photographed not wearing masks. The NFL decided to slap them with a fine and say, if you're out in public, if you're out in a situation like this, you have to wear a mask. Did you hear about the fines, and what do you think?
I did not hear about the fines, but you know what? If you're a visible professional player, you got to be socially responsible at this point in time. So yes, if I have to wear a mask when I go to a grocery store, the least they can do is wear a mask for a charity event. You know what I mean? Like, it's little things that have to be done, but they must be done, not just to ensure the player's safety, but everybody else's as well.
Yeah, it's nice that they were doing a fundraiser. A lot of players do a lot in the community, and it's fantastic. But, this is important and crucial, especially all through the U.S. So many positive COVID tests, cases, and deaths. And, it's getting, outrageous, the numbers that we're seeing all the time. Even President Trump, getting COVID. I kind of joked over the weekend that Cam Newton and President Trump were sharing a hospital bed. Just unbelievable that even the president of the country can catch it.
Yeah, of course, because you know what, like this, nobody's exempt from catching this thing. Nobody, and that just goes from the top down. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is, rich or poor. It doesn't discriminate. So you got to do your best to protect yourself and protect others.
So the first firing of the NFL season, Bill O'Brien got the axe today in Houston. You have been very critical of him, as have I. He made an amazingly boneheaded move in the off season, and every week you make a comment because the guy that he got rid of is lighting it up in Arizona, and was a favorite target of Deshaun Watson. I guess not a surprise after he made that move that he's out after 4 games.
No, I'm not surprised. But here's the thing: he got rid of the guy. You can't undo that trade now. You can't undo that, and it sucks because they did have an opportunity to say, well, it's either we keep DeAndre or we get rid of Bill. And at the time, they said, oh, well, I guess we'll keep Bill. Bill doesn't play on the field, man. Bill doesn't win you games. He does not do that. He's just a head coach. So I guess for future reference for the GMs and the people in the front office for the Texans, keep your players. Keep them. Keep them happy and keep your players. Keep them stars, because that guy is like a once-in-a-generation type receiver. And on top of that, he didn't have like a star quarterback until Deshaun Watson came to town. They could have done great things, but this is what you did instead. You go somewhere else. You get out of here. You go. That's a boneheaded move.
That was terrible. And you and I have just talked about it at length every week, and it was just a terrible move. He was a really great head coach. I think once he took over the GM duties, I think he was out of his element. I think he should have stuck to head coaching and let somebody else come in there. That's always a little bit difficult for head coaches because sometimes that new GM wants to have his guy, and so you run the risk of getting fired pretty darn soon right away. A lot of these guys do like being able to take over the GM duties because it can maintain their job security a little bit, but obviously making a move that horrible really showed that he didn't have the GM wherewithal to be able to assemble a team and keep a team together. They made the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years. They were pretty successful, but when you pay Deshaun Watson the money you're paying, you have J.J. Watt on defense, you have a team that's supposed to be top of the league. start 0-4. They lost against the winless Vikings on the weekend too, and it just had to be done, I guess.
Yeah, man. A change had to be made. Somebody had to fall on the sword, so to speak, and that person was Bill O'Brien. And you know what? I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
Out of all the teams in history that have started 0-4, only one team has ever made the playoffs. That's the 1992 Chargers. So it's going to be tough sledding. Romeo Crennel is taking over. He was assistant coach, and he's moving into the head coach position. We'll see if it can shake things up. They did really have a tough schedule to start outside of Minnesota, but I guess no excuses. Big move made really quickly, but hopefully they can turn it around. Speaking of another 0-3 team, your Atlanta Falcons are playing tonight against Green Bay Packers. 7-3 in the first quarter so far. It's in the second quarter now, 5 minutes left. Do you think they're going to be able to take down the unbeaten Green Bay Packers tonight?
Yeah, the unbeaten Green Bay Packers. That's great that you led with that. I don't know. Okay, so they had a goal line stop so far for the Atlanta defense, and that's a big deal because they haven't been able to stop anybody yet. Now, can they continue to do that for the rest of the game? I have my doubts. I'm not going to lie. I have my doubts, but we shall see. And then also, too, I'm sorry, man, but you're going against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's a real tough guy to beat. So, I'm kind of thinking the Packers are going to beat them. I'm sorry.
The Packers are without Devontae Adams, but they have a lot of weapons. And Aaron Jones got a short touchdown catch earlier. You're dealing with a team that has a huge amount of weapons, and the Falcons just can't seem to stop anybody. Other than that, goal line stand was impressive. Four times right down there, and they were able to stop them. So hopefully it's a tight game. That Chiefs-Patriots game just is the final, 26-10 for the Chiefs. I want to talk a little bit about the head coaching matchup tonight between the Chiefs and the Patriots. This is the 8th meeting between Andy Reid and Bill Belichick over the years. The other 7 times that they met that season, one of those two teams went to the Super Bowl. Kind of a cool stat.
Yeah.
They are the 3rd and the 6th winningest coaches in NFL history. And it doesn't happen where you get 2 legends facing each other like this very much. Let's see here. They have 531 wins amongst them. Shula's first, 347. George Halas is second, 324. Then Bill Belichick is 306, third place. And Andy Reid's in 6th place and will end up in 5th place as the season wears on. They have more wins combined than 19 franchises in the NFL. They have more wins than the Denver Broncos, who have been in the Super Bowl 8 times, more wins than the Raiders, who have been in the Super Bowl 5 times, and more wins than the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers combined in their history. So really cool. I saw a little piece today on NFL on the NFL Network, and I wanted to write down some of those stats. Obviously, Belichick is missing Brady a bit, and then obviously missing Newton even much more because Brian Hoyer and Jason Stidham just weren't very good tonight, and weren't able to pull out a win. But Patrick Mahomes hadn't thrown a touchdown pass in the first half for only the 3rd time in his career, and all those times were against the Patriots.
Oh, wow. Yep. So the Patriots can stop Mahomes for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit. You can't stop him completely, but they can stop him for a little bit in the first half. And that's impressive, actually, because Nobody else can do that. But unfortunately for the Patriots, they got two guys that have not really seen the field for a long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah. This was
Yeah.
the longest game without a touchdown this season. It almost ended the third quarter without a touchdown. They were able to get a short touchdown at the end of the third quarter, and it was the longest time that the Chiefs had ever not scored a touchdown in the Andy Reid era. So, yeah, it was really a crazy first half, 6-3. I don't think anybody would have predicted that, but yeah, it ends up 26-10 for the Chiefs. And yeah, a lot of interesting stats there. Cool to see two legends, Andy Reid, coming into his own. Now he has an amazing offense. You know, the Chiefs are going really far. Bill Belichick has to retool quite a bit with losing Brady, losing Newton for at least a couple weeks here. We'll see if the Patriots can recover from the loss of their quarterbacks. It's yeah, it's too bad. I was really shocked to hear about Cam Newton's positive COVID test.
It's going to be something that we're going to have to, obviously we're going to be keeping a watch on as your superstar players if they catch COVID, and you just see how much that affects the team. Clearly, that's going to affect the New England Patriots a lot because that's their quarterback. That's their number one. And then when you have a bunch of, I don't know, other dudes that are trying to play quarterback and haven't played that position for quite some time, well, you can see the result for itself.
One thing that I saw some stats on this week where the holding calls have been way down this year. There's only been 101 holding calls before tonight over 49 games, so about 2 per game. That's down 60% over last season and over 45% over the last 5 seasons. It really seems to have been allowing for a lot more pace of play. There's not so many stoppages and a lot more scoring. We've never seen higher scoring in the NFL than we have this year. And I'm a big fan of offensive football, always have been. Have you noticed a lot less whistles for little ticky-tack holding calls like that?
Yeah, like it just seems that which is amazing actually, if you really think about it, that the game seems cleaner. And I don't know if that's attributed to the fact that there's no crowd noise and then that all the players can just hear everything crystal clear. Maybe that has something to do with it, just the fact that they can hear everything. And like I've said before, I've said this for the UFC, and I'm going to say this maybe for all the other professional sports guys too as well. I think there's something to be said about the players being able to lock in a lot easier and a lot better without any distractions. No fans whatsoever. Nobody, making funny faces at you as you're trying to kick a field goal or whatever. You just can't focus on anybody because nobody's out there. Nobody's in the stands. At least for some stadiums, yes, they do have some sparsity of fans, but then other teams don't have any fans at all. So, yeah, man, like I feel that the concentration and the focus is more heightened now than it ever has been.
Yeah, that's smart. Good observation for sure. Yeah, I know you've talked about that a little bit over the weeks, and yeah, it's nice. And they can concentrate and not having those distractions. On the bad side of the NFL right now, I'm really, really bothered by the roughing the passer calls. I'm really bothered by these unnecessary roughness calls for hits. I saw a guy get tossed out of a game yesterday where he went to tackle a guy and the guy ducked his head down and they ended up colliding heads. And the guy that was running the ball was at just as much fault or more fault than the guy that was making the tackle. And I'm just seeing way too many roughing the passer calls where the guy barely hits the quarterback and, they call him 15-yard penalty. And it's really starting to worry me that we're going to start seeing flag football instead of tackle football. I know they're worried about concussions. I know they're worried about, bad injuries and stuff. But, nobody wants to see the Pro Bowl. Hate the Pro Bowl. Can never watch that. It's not football to me. And that's what they seem to be, going in the direction of. And and it's bothering me. It's starting to make me think that in about 2-3 seasons, I might not watch the NFL anymore, and that worries me because that's been a big part of my life. I love it, but it's becoming unwatchable when I'm seeing crazy calls being made so often.
Yeah. You know what? It's a very fine line that the refs have to tiptoe between protecting the quarterback, protecting the stars of the league, and then also to allowing the defense to play defense. You know what I mean? And yeah, a lot of the calls have been, I don't know, I'd say ticky tack, like where it's just, you got to let the guys play defense, at some point. It can't just be all skewed towards the offense all the time. You have to use like some sort of common sense, some logic with some of these hits. If the offensive player, like you said, dips his head and they end up going helmet to helmet, well, then who's to blame there? Yes, the offensive man was trying to make a move. The defensive guy is allowed to make the tackle. And then if that happens, that's incidental contact as far as I'm concerned. But, this is something that the league and the refs are going to be struggling with as they go forward. And I would hope that there would be maybe a touch going back where they say, you know what, we got to let these defensive guys play the game. We got to let them tackle. You got to let them tackle. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's hope they see some of the same things I do. Some people are going to complain, and we're not going to see so many brutal calls because I just find it really week after week. I'm so frustrated. I get really angry, and I want to change the game because I can't believe what the referees just called, and I just don't want it to become unwatchable like that All-Star game is, that Pro Bowl. It's horrible. Let's cover some games though. Let's get into talk about some of the action. Russell Wilson, another great victory from him. First 4-0 start for the Seahawks since 2013 when they won their Super Bowl that year. 31-23 victory over Miami. Russell Wilson still on that MVP chase. And they're looking really, really solid. It's fun around here in the Pacific Northwest when Seattle's good, and they seem to be as good as they've ever been right now.
Yeah, man. And you know what? Russell Wilson has proven time and time again, if you give that guy some time in the pocket to pass, he's gonna pick you apart. And that's exactly what he's been doing. And the defense of Seattle has just been good enough so that the lead is being held. And they're keeping the opposition down in points enough for their team to win. And they've been opportunistic enough to turn over the ball so that Russell can get the ball back and score some quick points. Been very impressive. Lockett has been very impressive. That's pretty much Russell Wilson's guy to go to, his go-to guy. And then in the game, David Moore had some huge catches. Moore was great. He was fantastic in that game.
Yeah, he has incredible weapons. DK Metcalf, Moore, and Lockett and Carson, and it's super impressive and great to see Seahawks 4-0. The Tampa Bay game was a shootout between the old man Tom Brady and the young man Justin Herbert. Tom Brady didn't look very good in the beginning stages. He threw his third pick six of the season. They were down 24-7. But he was able to utilize his weapons and throw 5 touchdowns and get the big 38-31 win over the Chargers. I know you're not a Brady fan, but were you impressed by his performance in the end?
Yes, I was impressed by Brady. Yeah, anyways, he's that guy, all right? So he's able to turn it on when he needs to. And he's done that continually throughout the course of his career. And not surprised to see it again. Obviously, he's just going to do it again. But you know what? Like, he used his weapons well, especially Mike Evans. Mike Evans had a big game for him. And it's just Tom Brady doing Tom Brady stuff. There's winning again. Great.
Yeah, great. Yeah, again and again and again and again. I talked about Belichick getting those 306 wins, and I think Tom Brady's part of almost all of those. So, Yeah, yeah. We've been able to say it 300 times over our career. Um, so the game that we talked about a little bit earlier with Bill O'Brien getting fired because Houston had their fourth loss. Minnesota was finally able to get their first victory. Dalvin Cook has had a phenomenal year. He had 130 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns, and Thielen had another 114 yards for a touchdown. Great offense. I know they're missing Stephon Diggs, and that's been a little bit tough for them, but great to see them get their first win. Deshaun Watson had a good game, 300 yards, 2 TDs, but not enough. Minnesota, yeah, good for them. I hope they can keep it up.
Yeah, man. Minnesota looked good, and the Texans, you know what? Ooh, they're gonna have a tough year. They're gonna have a tough year, man, because as we were talking about before, like there's only been one team that's made the playoffs going 0-4 from the beginning, right? So it's not looking good, but maybe with the change in the head coach and maybe a change in philosophy, things can turn around for them.
Yeah, we'll see, and we'll see how it comes around. Yeah. Stephon Diggs is now in Buffalo, and they remain undefeated. Josh Allen having another great game. First time he hasn't thrown for 300 yards, but he got 288, 2 touchdowns. Derek Carr had a good game with 311 passing yards and 2 TDs. And Buffalo just looks incredibly strong, leading that division, and 4-0. Really, really impressive coming out of the chute.
Yeah, Josh Allen has been playing very, very well. His play has been very impressive. Strong decisions, good decision making in the pocket, and the Bills are for real. The Bills are for real. I was going to say it. The Bills are for real. They've proven the fact that they can win the close games, and then they can win. So good on them.
Yeah, well, they're as I said, 4-0. The Pats are 2-2, Dolphins 1-3, and Jets 0-4. So yeah, they definitely look like the strongest team to come out of that AFC East. New Orleans, we're missing a ton of the regulars. They had to play Detroit, but Drew Brees came out and pulled out a huge victory, and they scored 5 straight touchdowns against Detroit to get a win. Latavius Murray with a couple TDs, and nice big victory for the Saints.
Oh yeah, man. Wow, the Saints come marching in. You know what I mean? So Drew Brees is just again, old man Brees is gonna do his thing, and that offense of the Saints, no matter who's in, is dangerous. It just is. It is super dangerous. They are deadly. They are effective, and I'm not surprised to see that the Saints win that game for sure.
Joe Burrow got his first career win. That was his 3rd straight 300-yard performance. But Joe Mixon was the star there. 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. They beat the Jags 33-25. Gardner Minshew had a great game, 351 yards passing and a couple touchdowns, 2 touchdowns to DJ Chark there. But Joe Mixon was the big star, and it's nice to see Joe Burrow get his first win.
Yes. It's nice to see the young man finally get his first win. He had a great game of 300 yards passing, and I think he may have found his favorite receiver now for sure.
A couple other games. Did you hear about the bad blood between the Rams and the Giants?
I sure did. Oh man. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I heard about that. That had something to do with somebody's sister, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when real life really smacks you in the face, and then all of a sudden you got to hit it head on in the field of play. My goodness, I never would have thought like that. That's a story for a movie. You know what I mean? That really is. That really is. It definitely created some fireworks, but you know what? Those games going forward, if the Rams have to play the Jets again and again, those are gonna be good games, man. It's gonna be real good games.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some fights on the field, and then there was a brawl at the end. Jalen Ramsey was for anybody that doesn't know. I know you know, Jason, but for our viewers and listeners that don't know, Jalen Ramsey has his girlfriend is Golden Tate's sister. Golden Tate is a receiver for the New York Giants. While she was pregnant with their second child, Jalen Ramsey decided to hit the bricks and move out and go out on his own and leave her with the kid. And I guess that really annoyed Golden Tate. They've had a lot of bitter feud going on over social media. And finally, they had an opportunity to face each other on the field. We see this kind of stuff. In a way, we see this kind of stuff in the UFC. A lot of bad blood, a lot of your mother, your sister, this kind of stuff. But we don't hear much of it in the NFL, but it sure boiled over. And that was a really, really big, brutal brawl at the end of that game. It was crazy.
No, yeah, man. Like you could tell that battle lines were drawn. People were like, no, that's my boy. I'm going to be with him to the end. And everybody else like, no, man. He did that woman wrong, and so it was not pretty. It was not pretty, man. But I guess they settled it on the field in a certain way, with not just the score but with their fists as well. So there you go.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was funny that came out, and they were talking about it before the game, and then they definitely battled it out on the field, and hopefully they got it out of the system and they can move on now. But it was interesting to see real life spill out onto the football field. Yeah. I guess the last game I want to talk to is Eagles finally got their first win. Actually, I do want to talk about the Cleveland game too. Eagles got their first win. Carson Wentz finally led them to a victory over the 49ers. 49ers are really decimated with injuries, so it wasn't a big surprise. But the Eagles are leading the NFC East with a 1-2-1 record. Really sad division, that NFC East. The Eagles 1-2-1, Washington 1-3, Cowboys 1-3, and the Giants 0-4. Not impressive. Not too tough to be able to lead that division. And I don't know how lots of those teams are going to pull it together. I don't know, especially the Cowboys. Let Cleveland score 49 points on them on the weekend. Their defense looks terrible.
Yeah, and OBJ looked like a world beater. Jesus, he had a huge monster game, man. Yeah. What the Cowboys need to figure out is just they need to start, initiating their offense a little bit earlier instead of being like, okay, we're down 24, it's fourth quarter. Let's do this massive comeback, but still fall short. But, man, we're going to make it look good. They're making their games exciting, but they're not winning the games, which is kind of the point. So they're going to have to figure out, maybe a different defensive schemes or whatever. I don't know, but, that has to change around quick, or else they're definitely not going to be making anything. They're not going to make the playoffs. Whatever. So
you're right. Yeah, they're definitely in a lot of trouble. They get down in games. They made that miraculous comeback, but man, three losses already the first 4 games, and they're just they're not looking good early on. Trying to pull out victories being down so far, it's not a smart way to play. And I don't see them having a lot of success, but it's not going to be hard to win that division. You're probably only going to have to win 8 games, 9 games kind of thing. So pull that out. Maybe even less than that. Maybe not even have a winning record to win the East.
Yeah, that's kind of funny to say that. It's like, well, man, all we need you to do is maybe win 7. You think you win 7 games, and then you'll win the division. It's ridiculous, but that's what we're looking at right now because those teams are just not playing very well at all.
Okay, well, Monday Night Football, Packers are up 13-3. Got it at about half, about midfield, looks like, marching down near the end of the second quarter, about a minute left. 13-3. So let's put the football to bed for now. I want to mention some of our partners and sponsors before we move forward. Anchor's been a great partner and sponsor for Complete Sports Media. They've been really fantastic for posting on multiple podcast platforms for us, and it's the easiest place in the world to make a podcast. So go to anchor.fm or completesportsmedia.com and you find some details there. Burrow, great partner of ours, a hockey equipment and apparel company. They are the industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is the really most coveted stick on the market, 350 grams, lightest stick. Go to completesportsmedia.com and you can get onto a link through to their website, and there's some really good discounts for you. And finally, Forever Living, it's the aloe vera company, amazing manufactured aloe vera based products for health and beauty. So as I said, completesportsmedia.com. Okay, let's switch to the NBA and talk about the series. After that first game, and Bam Adebayo, Goran Dragic, both getting injured, Lakers being able to pull out the win, getting that second win, looked like possibly that series was done. Jimmy Butler threw the team on his back last night and pulled out a huge win. So it's 2-1 now. Miami has a shot. 115-104 was the game. Jimmy Butler had 40 points, 13 assists, and 11 rebounds. One of the best performances by any human being that's ever been in the finals. And it was really fun to watch, and it's made a series out of it. Can he do it 3 more times?
I think in Jimmy's head he can do it 3 more times. And I got to tell you, man, the guy put on his Superman cape, and he said, all right, boys, follow me. We're winning this game. Or as Eric Spoelstra said, Jimmy effing Butler. Jimmy effing Butler. You know what I mean? Like, that guy was amazing. He was amazing. He did it on both ends of the court. He led the team in the offense. He did it in the defensive end as well. He was utterly amazing. Can he do that for 3 more games? I would like to think in his mind he definitely can, and I think he can do it. I don't know if he will do it, but I think he can do it. Very, very much the next game will be the tell-all if they can tie up the series or not. But I think they're going to be coming out guns a-blazing for sure, the Miami Heat. And then also, too, with the Heat as well, you had guys that came off the bench like Kelly Olynyk with 17 huge points. And Tyler Hero, I can't say enough about that young man. He has been exceptional. He struggled yesterday. But down the stretch when they needed him most, he was there. And he also had 17 points, man. The Heat, you know, they rallied and they came up with a huge win. Huge win.
Yeah, it was really great to see Kelly Olynyk play so well. They actually inserted Myers Leonard into the starting lineup in place of Bam, but Myers Leonard didn't play very much. He hadn't played much in the entire playoffs. So Kelly Olynyk came in. He's looking really fantastic, not just offensively, really good defensively. And he just doesn't seem to get enough of a shot. But, man, when he does get a shot, he's playing so great. And it's nice to see a BC kid, a Kamloops boy, a guy who grew up playing basketball here, getting a shot, especially in the finals. And he's played phenomenal the last couple of games.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. He's really been the glue to help that team, you know, overcome the Lakers. You know, like Kelly Olynyk has played extremely well. And they're going to need him to continue to play extremely well if they're going to have any chance of winning this series. It just can't be just Butler. All the other guys got to step up, and they got to play well for them to have a chance at beating these guys.
They seem to be able to keep Anthony Davis in check. What was the key to that? How did they do it?
Well, you know what? I think they did it by committee. And then also, too, what they did was they rushed him. They double teamed him when he wasn't expecting it. They made him uncomfortable, and they continually made him uncomfortable throughout the entirety of the game. That's why he kind of disappeared in the game. Now, is that going to happen for the next game? No, not really. He's going to come out very aggressive. He's going to be extremely aggressive, I can imagine, for the next game. But I think the Miami Heat just need to keep doing what they just did this past game. They need to aggressively double team him, make him uncomfortable, and just blitz him at subtle times throughout the course of the game where he's not going to be expecting it. And I think that will pay them dividends going forward in the series.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe the numbers for AD. By far his lowest totals of the playoffs. 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists in 33 minutes. Didn't play a lot because he got into foul trouble. Won't that be definitely their game plan, is get him into foul trouble, just run at him, even if he has some blocks, even if he's able to disrupt some of the offense that Miami's throwing at him? Isn't it just get him in foul trouble, get him out of there? There's nobody even close to him on the Lakers that will be able to be that second option for LeBron. So why don't they employ that game plan the rest of the whole series?
Well, you know what? He's still a very smart defensive player. He knows what you're trying to do, which is get him into foul trouble. And so he's able to contort, manipulate his body so that he's still going straight up, but you can't go, you're not able to find his body for the foul. You know what I mean? But that should be the game plan for the Heat, for both of their stars, to always attack LeBron and AD. Whomever they happen to be covering, that person has to have the mindset of take it to the hoop, take it strong to the hoop, and hopefully draw a foul. You know what I mean? Like that would pay them huge dividends. If you can get those two guys in foul trouble, and if you can keep them off the court, oh my goodness, the chances of you winning the game go up exponentially, for sure.
You're Frank Vogel, coach of the Lakers. What are you doing different game 4?
Well, for game 4, what I'm doing different is I'm looking at AD and I say, okay, well, you know what? Offensively, you have to be more aggressive. We'll have you at the top of the key, and then just you go to work. And you go to work early in the first half. Try to get your points. With LeBron, I just say, you know what? You just do you. You just do what you always do. Either because LeBron is one of those players where he goes with the flow of the game. Whatever he feels that his team needs is what he's going to give them. And so I think LeBron will probably come out as a facilitator at first and then probably pick it up in the second half of the game. But in the first half, he'll defer to AD and try to get him going because he'll need him to be going. So that's definitely it. And then also, too, you know what? You're just going to have your shooters lining up, spotting up for the threes. And then also, too, encouraging Kyle Kuzma, drive more to the hoop. Don't just settle for spot-up threes all the time. I'm going to need you driving, or drive in, not always have the three. Go for your mid-range jumpers and stuff, too, as well. Be aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Kuzma was their second leading scorer, tied with Markieff Morris, both had 19 points. But, yeah, definitely outside shooting instead of being aggressive. The more aggressive you are, the more foul trouble you're going to get the other team in. So, I know that basketball's changing. It's becoming a three-point shooter's haven. They think that, you're going 3 points is better than 2 on your trip down the floor. But, if you can get the key guys into foul trouble and bringing in bench players, obviously those players aren't the same caliber as the starters, and you're going to probably have a lot more success. So, I do see the benefit of having really good 3-point shooting, but, if you can drive the hoop and, either sink some, layups, get some dunks, or get the team in foul trouble, we saw the success that Miami had. What's your prediction for game 4? What's your prediction for, the next couple of games? What do you think is going to happen?
My prediction for game 4 is this. Jimmy Butler, again, has another massive game, and the Heat win. And I believe that Olynyk will be a strong star supporter again in this next game. But But the one thing that I think changes, two things. I think Tyler Hero has a better shooting game, and I think Kendrick Nunn will have a great game, whether it be defensive plays or offensively, but I think he's going to be a key as well.
Yeah, it's been really surprising to me that Nunn played so great in the regular season, and then in the playoffs he was just non-existent. They weren't playing him at all, but he's looked great the last few games. They're giving him an opportunity, and yeah, it's really been a really big spark for Miami having him come in. Another young guy that's playing above his head.
Oh yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, for some of the players, the pandemic really affected him. And for Kendrick Nunn, he was on a roll, and then he stopped, and then that just affected his flow of his game. But I think you can see it beginning to come back for Kendrick. And I believe in this next game, I think you're going to see some great things from him, because I think he's been on the cusp of getting everything back. He's just been very, very close. I think this next game coming up, you're going to see good things from him for sure.
Well, let's hope the Heat can tie it up and make it a 3-game series, and yeah, make it really exciting. I was super disappointed with that first game, especially with the injuries that the Heat suffered. But this new victory by Miami really gives me renewed hope. And you predicted that the Heat would win. I hope you're right. It would be really nice to see them come back, win 4 out of 5, and take down the Lakers. But we'll see in the next few days how it shakes down. Doc Rivers was not unemployed for very long. He got let loose by the Clippers, and the 76ers picked him up quick. Do you think he's going to be a good fit there?
Yes, I think so, because I think one thing that Doc always brings to the table is he's able to change the culture of a team if it's not very good. And I've never thought that the 76ers culture was very good over there. I don't want to say they're soft, but I'm going to say they're soft. So I think they just need an element of toughness and an element of being responsible for, to play the game the right way, just to be better. And also, too, not to cave. Because I think this team has a tendency, when the going gets tough, they cave a little bit. And I think Doc will reinforce that toughness, that inner strength that this team needs. But also, though, with the team going forward, they're going to have to make a decision on who's going to stay and who's going to go. And that decision is between Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I know that that's coming down the pipe, and I'm sure Doc will have some input into that, into how he wants his team run. So we'll see exactly what the team will look like going forward for the future. But I think it's a good hire by the 76ers, because I believe he'll be the right fit to get those young guys in the right mindset to play the game the right way.
Obviously, losing Jimmy Butler was massive. We see Butler, taking the Heat all the way to the final. That, to me, was the biggest, most horrible move that happened in Philly. And if they could have kept him there, they could be in the final like he's Jimmy Butler's been able to take them. But yeah, we'll see how it shakes down. Yeah, it's good to see Doc not out of work for very long. Great guy and really good coach. I'm happy that he got job so quick. Before we get out of basketball, I want to talk about Kyrie Irving a little bit. He made some really controversial comments this past week. He said that out of every team that he's been on, he was the number one option down the stretch until now. Now KD might be the guy that he can defer to in some of these crunch time moments. What do you think of that comment, first of all?
I kind of thought, did he forget who he played with? It's like, oh, man, I was pretty sure. Then I had to look it up just to be sure, right? Just to be sure. I'm like, oh, yeah, he did play with LeBron. Or maybe he forgot. I don't know. He probably just forgot. For whatever reason, that guy, whenever he gets a chance, loves to throw shade at LeBron. Like, he just loves to do that. I don't know what happened between those two, but clearly somebody is a little bit jealous of somebody else, you know? And I'm sure if you delve into the numbers a little bit more, like during the crunch time, which is what I did. Actually, I didn't do that. A different YouTuber did it, and I got his information. LeBron's numbers, like with the last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, like when it's winning time, he shoots 47% field goal percentage. What's Kyrie Irving shoot? It's 42%. That's not better than LeBron, buddy. It's not better. And then if you want to go even deeper into it, last 2 minutes or 1 minute left in the game, tight game, LeBron shoots even better than that. It's 48%. Kyrie Irving, I believe it was 30%. 30%. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is the numbers don't lie, Kyrie. They don't lie. Somebody's better than you, and you don't like it. I get it. You're jealous. It's fine. But you got to get over it, bud. You really do got to get over it. And yes, you are absolutely correct. You make sure KD shoots the ball before you, buddy. That's a thing. That's really a thing. Okay, I'm done.
I'm glad you found those stats. That's great. That's really interesting to see. And no, I wish the reporter wouldn't have been able to throw those in his face right away. I can't believe so many of the things that come out of Kyrie's mouth. It really blows me away that he, isn't told to shut the hell up by his teammates, by his coaches, by his agent, by his wife, by his, everybody. Because, man, flat earth guy, he said, let's not go to this bubble. Let's, on and on and on. And he also said that he thinks that they're all going to be coaches on this team now. Steve Nash obviously is the head coach now, but he said, no, I think we're all going to be coaches. Steve will be one, and I'll be one, KD will be one, we'll all be coaches. Just really irritated me and blew me away that he would say something that dumb.
Well, yeah, because, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you're still a player. You're not a player coach. You know what I mean? You're not a player coach. You're still a player. And the organization came and hired Steve Nash as the head coach. So that's his job. So why don't you let him do his job, and then you play the game. You play. You don't coach. Because I don't think you're very good at it. You shouldn't do that. I don't know what's going through his head. It's almost as if this guy just feels like I need utmost control at all times over everything that this organization or this team does. And that doesn't work. That does not work. And hopefully somebody is in his ear to somewhat slow his roll, so to speak. And you know what? Give Steve Nash a chance. Let him coach. Let him do his thing. Because if there's one thing to be said about Steve Nash is he's an incredibly intelligent man. He's a smart dude. He's going to get this. But what he doesn't need is a superstar player going off the rails and doing nonsense. You know what I mean? Just play the game and just be a good teammate and stop talking. Just stop talking. Don't say anything. Just play. Man, you can't do that. Forget it.
Yeah, it upsets me and blows me away, and it's too bad because he is a talent, that's for sure, but he's a disruptive force. He has been on Cleveland when he went to Boston. Boston had a phenomenal team, and they should have went really, really far with the talent they had on the team, but very disruptive force there. And now it worries me that he'll go in and cause this kind of friction and problems for Steve Nash, who I respect more than anybody in basketball. And let's hope somebody can talk some sense into him. Let him just get on the court, not do any more talking, just play and dish the ball off to KD in the crunch time when the game needs to be won. Let's hope that happens. And both those guys have had a lot of controversy, not being able to get along with teammates in the last little while. Hopefully they can get along. Hopefully they can get along with Nash. And hopefully that team can, show what they should show. That's a incredibly deep team that should go far. And if they can all get along and Kyrie can keep his mouth shut, yeah, I'd like to see Steve Nash have a lot of success there.
Yeah, man. Because look at the team. The team is set up for them to win immediately, kind of like the Clippers, kind of like them. But also, too, kind of like the Clippers, they could have a clash of personalities, too, which could tank their season. So they'll make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But for that team, the point is to win the championship. And so managing all those personalities, I'm sure Steve is a leader. He'll be able to do that to a certain extent. The only thing is, like those guys also need to work with him as well. And I don't know if Kyrie can do that. I actually don't know if that's within him to do that, where he's like, I want to work with you, but I can't do it. It's not in me. I'm sorry. But we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. Let's hope this playoffs keep continuing. I really like to talk basketball with you for another couple of weeks, and yeah, we'll see how it shakes down in the coming days. Before we go, let's talk a little bit about the UFC that happened this past weekend. To me, it was the story of two Albuquerque fighters, Holly Holm, just looking absolutely incredible in that main event. Just did not even give Irene Aldana a chance at a victory there. And also seeing Carla's Condit come back after a very long hiatus on a losing streak, coming back. These two guys coming from Jackson Wink and Albuquerque and both putting on incredibly great performances. It was really fun for me to see those two do really well.
Yes. Holly Holm looked incredible. Completely shut down any offense that Aldana had. She mixed it up beautifully. 3 to 4 4-piece combination striking with her hands. Chained that with like her wrestling, took her down to the ground. And then in the 5th round, she did something that I haven't seen Holly do for a while. She came after Aldana hard, like to the point where you're like, oh man, she's trying to finish this. It was impressive. We haven't seen that Holly Holm for a while, and I hope that form of Holly Holm stays for a bit because she looked fantastic, utterly fantastic. And then Carlos Condit, one of my favorite fighters, came back, looked healthy, was healthy, and he had his style going with his creativity, his diversity of striking, his footwork. He looked fantastic too as well. He looked great.
Yeah, no, really good to see. There's been a lot of talk over the last couple of days who should both those fighters face now. And on the same card, Jermaine Durandamy had a really big victory. They're talking about Holly Holm and her fighting. So they whoever wins out of that gets the shot at Amanda Nunes. Do you think that's the fight to make?
I think that is the fight to make because Jermaine Durandamy did something that was completely unexpected. Guillotine choke finish. What?
First submission win of her career. First submission win of her career.
Yes, man, and it was she set that up nice. It was beautifully well set up, well done. I would say yes, but the top 2 tier people in that division to fight Nunes again, and yeah, get beat up by her. But the top 2 people to try to get that fight with her, I would say definitely is Durandamy and Holm. And I think that will be a great fight to make because Holm has shown she's not just going to fight on her feet. She will take you down as well. And you don't know when that's coming. And that's an element to her game that, Durandamy is now going to have to deal with. But Holm will also have to deal with Durandamy's all of a sudden submission game that she's now developed. So it's going to be, that'll be a very interesting matchup if they can make that matchup happen.
Yeah. And what I've heard is Carlos Condit against Matt Brown. I think that'll be just a phenomenal fight. And just the nicknames alone, the Natural Born Killer against the Immortal. Pretty cool, pretty fun. 2 warriors, 2 old-time warriors that have been through incredible careers. If they put that together, going to be the first in line to watch that one.
They got to put that one on pay-per-view, my friend. They got to put that one on pay-per-view because that's going to be a barn burner. Because what those two guys do the best is this: we bring the fight, and we're just going to keep throwing until somebody gets knocked out hard, And I just love the way that they fight. They just Matt Brown with his elbows, Carlos Condit with everything else, pretty much. Yeah, man, that would be an amazing fight, and I really hope they make that. I really do.
Me too. Yeah, definitely. What do you think of the co-main event? Heavyweight battle between Carlos Felipe and Jurgen de Castro. Carlos is a fun guy to watch. These guys were bangers and definitely really loaded up a lot of big shots. And it was I didn't expect it to go to a decision, but it did. And really fun. I enjoyed watching both these guys really bang hard.
Yeah, man, the big boy fight, man. And I didn't know what to expect at first, but then once they started fighting, I'm like, oh man, they are throwing down. And Felipe, for me, just obviously was the better conditioned fighter. De Castro literally had nothing left in the tank in the third round. He was just pressing up against him in the fence. And Felipe's complaining to the ref about, come on, ref, help me out here, buddy. He's not doing anything. And to a certain extent, the ref did help him out. He's just like, yeah, you're right. He isn't doing anything. Let's break you up again. That I like that, actually. I like the fact that the ref didn't allow them to just, allow the one fighter anyways to just grind the fight to a halt and do nothing. I did appreciate and like that, and I hope more refs do that. Just don't allow these fighters just to get them off the hook and to just, rest and lay and pray on the guy up against the cage or down on the ground, wherever that may be. But great fight, and great fight by Felipe. I really like watching that guy fight, man. He's an exciting fighter. The only thing I'm going to say about these two fighters is this. I believe that they could be better served if they were in better shape. Yeah. That's the only thing I'm going to say. I think both of these fighters could be exceptionally incredible if they were in better shape, if that's what they want to do. Because I remember a certain fighter, Roy Big Country Nelson, who could have been upper echelon if he had chosen to get himself into better shape. So,
right. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, both of them didn't really look very cut, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the bantamweight fight between Kyler Phillips and Cameron Elsie. Elsie was making his USA debut, short notice. All 10 wins that he's had came in the first round. I was expecting some pretty good fireworks out of him, but Kyler Phillips looked really on a different level than him. Huge takedowns, incredible scrambles, was able to really take him down, flatten him out, get the KO victory 44 seconds into the second round. Impressive performance by Kyler Phillips.
Oh, yeah, he was all over him. But the one thing that was really impressed me about Kyler Phillips is the way that he attacked. He attacked him constantly at all angles, all the time. He never let Cameron Else off the hook, ever. Throughout the entirety of that fight, that must be incredibly frustrating and uncomfortable to know that this guy is literally attacking you all the time. All the time. And that's the one thing that really, really impressed me about Kyler Phillips. Exceptional, dominant win by Phillips. He looked fantastic. I can definitely foresee him getting into the top 15 sooner than later.
Yeah. There was a middleweight fight earlier on the card between Dusko Tudorovic and Daquan Townsend. Tudorovic is a stand-up fighter. He got his first takedown of his career and was able to mount Daquan, and Jason Herzog ended up coming in and saving Daquan any more punishment. Yeah, pretty impressive performance by this Serbian fighter, 10-0, and yeah, I think somebody to watch out for in the middleweight division.
Oh yeah, man. Like I just love the way that he flowed with his shots. Like he just had a very nice flow to his game in his stand-up. And then when he did take him down, the volume and the accuracy of his ground and pound was exceptional. It really was. And that's what got him the stoppage in the second round. Definitely Herzog had to rescue Townsend because there was just nothing but more pain and more punishment coming his way. Excellent win by Todorovic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On the prelim card before the Condit fight, Charles Air Jourdain from Canada, from Quebec here, fought Josh Kulabau. It ended up in a draw. I was really shocked by that decision. Usually you see draws from losing points and things like that, but yeah, what do you think of that featherweight fight? And too bad Jourdain got the draw. I would have liked to see him get a win.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed by that. I'm going to be honest, because Kulabau really showed that he belonged in the UFC and he belonged in that fight. He was really, really good. His kicking game was on point. The thing is about Kulabau, we just didn't really know too much about this fighter. But he came, and even when Jourdain pressured him, he kept cool, calm, and collected, and was able to spin out, use his footwork, and then counterattack too as well. Kulabau really impressed me. Really, really impressed me, because I know what Jourdain can bring to the table. I just didn't know what Kulabau could bring to the table. And what he did bring was an excellent fight. And so, yeah, I wasn't disappointed with the draw at all. I thought it was very close. I didn't know exactly who won that fight. I know that Jourdain came on strong in the third, but Kulabau still did enough to keep him honest and keep him off him too, because his counters were very sharp and accurate. So, great fight.
Yeah. No, it was a great fight. Kulabau was actually the favorite, the biggest favorite on the card. And yeah, I wasn't expecting Jourdain necessarily to win, but after such an amazing finish to that fight, I really thought maybe he was going to get his hand raised, and I was a little bit disappointed with the draw. But yeah, we'll see what happens for both of them. Kulabau looked really, really impressive. He is a good fighter. The fight right before that was Jordan Williams and Nasruddin Imavov. The interesting thing about Williams is that he's a type 1 diabetic, and yeah, he looked really, really impressive. And yeah, it's kind of cool to see someone that has that affliction and being able to be a top level UFC fighter.
Yeah, because that if you're type 1 diabetic and then you also have to cut weight, that is a very hard thing to do, period. This is very hard. And you have to be very careful or you could end up in the hospital. So with the fact that he's able to balance that and be a professional fighter at the same time, huge props to him. Huge props. Mm-hmm. Now, in the fight, though, Imavov, he just had a little bit more than Williams did. Like, you could tell that eventually the striking, Imavov's counters, footwork, the way he was able to stay away from Williams, who has an incredible chin, by the way. Imavov hit him with some shots, my friend. Hit him with some shots, and that kid was still there, still fighting. But you could see that he was wilting near the end of the second and definitely in the third. So pressure fighter, Imavov, he managed to pull off that win. But Williams, really tough fighter, and I expect to see him come back stronger in the next one. But great win by Imavov.
Yeah, that was a really big one by him. That fight had a huge headbutt early on, and Imavov took the brunt of it, fell down. Williams jumped on him and tried to, give him a lot more damage, but Imavov was able to come on. Both of them got cut with it, and then there was a really bad groin strike that he had to deal with for a while. But yeah, Imavov looked impressive, and yeah, I think he's next level with that. The only other fight I want to talk about is the women's strawweight fight. Loma Lockboonmee is her name. It's fighting Jinyu Frey. This girl Lockboonmee, wow, holy man, does she have a fighting spirit to her? a Thai fighter that just used incredible maneuvers and the clinch. And wow, I was super impressed with her.
Her technique was so on point. It was unbelievable because Frey looked like a monster compared to Luke Boonmay. Frey was physically she looked like she was in a different weight division, period. She really did. But Luke Boonmay was undaunted, and she was definitely unafraid. And her clinch game was tight. Some of those tight end elbows that she hit Frey with were vicious, to say the least. Her kicking game, like just everything that she had with the stand-up. Her kicks, her elbows, the way that she gauged distance with Frey. I was very impressed with Luke Boonmay, and it was a very good win by Luke Boonmay against a bigger fighter, a stronger fighter too.
Yeah, definitely. I see Todd Gurley just scored for the Falcons, so brought the deficit down. I think it's 20-10 now. So yeah, let's hope Atlanta has a comeback in them. Yeah, we'll see the rest of this Monday nighter. Yeah, that's all I've got for this weekend in sports. Great fourth week of the NFL. Great to see Miami make a series of it in the NBA final, and a fun UFC card. A lot of really good fights to watch. Yeah, anything more you want to add there, Jason?
No, you know what? The only thing I want to add is this. I hope the Butler can do it again. I just going to need him to do it again. Actually, I'm just going to need him to do it again 3 more times. But yes, Jimmy effing Butler, if you don't know who this guy is, well, you better start tuning in because he's making a statement in this playoffs for sure.
Good point. Yeah. Jimmy effing Butler is the guy. Yeah, Miami has a shot. He's got to take the team on his back. He sometimes will defer to other guys and be that assist guy. He'll draw a double team and get it off, and it's a super smart way of playing. Not being super selfish, but with those 2 guys injured, nope, he had to do it, and I hope it's changes mentality, and he sees that he can be as dominant as LeBron, as dominant as AD, and he's just as good. So why not? Why not take this team to more victories? And yeah, I don't know what the Lakers are going to do to stop them, but it'll be interesting to see the change in the series.
Yeah, like the only thing that the Lakers are going to do is LeBron will probably accept the challenge and try to guard Jimmy for a lot of the game. But you know what? The Heat are smart. They'll always be like doing cross screening action and stuff, so that all of a sudden a different defender has to guard Jimmy, and then that's when Jimmy's going to attack. But regardless of whoever guards Jimmy, Jimmy's still going to attack that person. Doesn't matter to him because Jimmy plays Jimmy's game, and that's what Jimmy does.
Yeah, well, let's hope they can get their guys back. It'd be nice to see a full squad. It'd be nice to see Bam back. Nice to see Goran back. I heard Goran's doubtful. Bam's probable. So yeah, we might see one or both, or hopefully at least one of them comes back. And yeah, well, you and I'm sure we'll talk over the next couple of days. Can't wait for Game 4.
Yeah, man, me too. Can't wait for it. I'm so looking forward to it, and I hope that the Heat can pull it off and tie up this series 2-2.
Okay, Jason. Yeah, thanks as usual. My favorite hour of the week is always doing this, and yeah, thanks for a bit of your night here, and appreciate it as always. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Thanks so much. Later.
Bye. Cheers. Take care. Bye for now.
All right.
Okay. Wow. Well, we covered a lot of subjects as usual, and got deep into football, basketball, and the UFC. It was a lot of fun. Lots to break down, lots to discuss as always, and yeah, a lot of fun. Jason brings a really great perspective, and makes me laugh, makes me hear a lot of things I haven't heard before, and yeah, just brings a lot to the table. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Check out our website, completesportsmedia.com. As I said, check out our partners and sponsors. And yeah, please keep tuning in. Take care of yourself. Love you lots. Have a great week. Bye for now.